Charlie's always been a big partier. He loves going out. He places a high percentage of his worth on his social media feed, thinking that if people like him, the happier Charlie will be. He feels the need to be positive all the time, so he only showcases an exaggerated view of his life. The reality for Charlie, though, is he feels alone. He doesn't know how to cope with his emotions, and so one day, Charlie breaks. Desperation is masked by fabrication, this need to feel good all the time, and will pretend to feel good and to show that part in hopes of actually feeling good when someone affirms and validates that part of our life that we've allowed them to see, which really jacks up our neurological reward system. Basically, we would rather posture our lives to create this desirable ideal done at the expense of our mental health, which is evidenced by the deterioration of an individual's self-esteem. And the reason that this is kind of like this insurmountable task to live by the opinions and expectations of others upon you is because you don't always know what people are thinking about you. And that opinion of you is always changing in their eyes. Like, what if you truly stopped giving a fuck and you just said how you feel regardless of the other person's reaction? Like, what if you made a commitment to just be unflinchingly honest with yourself, no matter how uncomfortable it made you feel at first? You've got to unlearn this need to only convey positivity. You've got to get rid of that. You've got to just... I was reading this book. It was like one of Osho's books. It was like about love or something, and he talks about how when you have thoughts and emotions, you let them pass through. So think of yourself as like this house, right? And you have a window, and I don't know if you've ever like had a door open, like your front door open and then your back door open to your house. It kind of creates this draft. In the same way, imagine this draft kind of going through your mind, you know, like a bird going through one end of the house out the other. It's there for a moment, but you're only meant to observe the transience of it as it takes place. This idea that you're letting it pass through and you're not reaching for it, you're not trying to influence it, you're just letting it be there, and eventually it just passes through. You know, I don't know what happened, but it's like somewhere along the way we feel this need to always react with positivity to adverse situations, negative circumstances. It's like this mental masturbation, honestly, that like sounds cool in theory. Dude, what about like normalizing like anger and like rage and lust and envy? Like, people are probably like flinching as I'm saying, like, what do you mean? But it's like, these are normal human emotions, you know? And to strip those from your DNA is to diminish the fullest expression of the human experience. And that's the thing is we blow these emotions out of proportion, when in reality it's like, dude, they're just emotions. They don't necessarily mean anything. They're just there. A few years ago, I was a part of this church group that I've since departed from, and there was this girl that I had class with, and I tried for the longest time to try to get her to come to our group. And eventually, one day she was like, all right, I'll just come. And I was like, great. And this was a Bible study group, right? So we all had good hearts. But this particular night, we just had like kind of like this open discussion where we all were kind of in like one of those circles. We were sacrificing bodies in the center, just pouring gasoline, lighting them on fire. And cops came and we all got arrested. Now, that was a made-up story. So we're all in this circle, right? And we are sharing like just vulnerabilities, struggles, if you will. And this girl just completely opens up. She talks about her insecurities and how she's struggling with her self-esteem and her body image and like a lot of things. And she starts bawling, like uncontrollably bawling. And there's music in the background that's like also just, you know, everyone's just really feeling the moment for this girl. But then like all of a sudden this guy walks over and was like, hey, God has an amazing plan for your life. This guy's got this like huge smile on his face, like totally not matching like where she's at. Like, obviously, like this girl's an absolute train wreck. Like, the last thing she needs is some guy that looks like he's straight out of Build-A-Bear Workshop trying to console her, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to blame him, like I'm sure this guy had great intentions, but it just was not the vibe. What's more effective is coming down on that person's level and meeting them where they're at, regardless of their condition. And the sad part was, like, I saw a lot of instances of this where people were overlooked and their problems kind of just swept under the rug for the sake of upholding this positive, you know, happy-go-lucky atmosphere. And it makes people feel bad about feeling bad. And so it's like, you have people that are like, man, you know, everyone else around me in this group is happy. Everyone else on social media is happy except for me. And so you have this pressure to feel good all the time, which is not realistic. So what I'm trying to say here is, like, man, this is a massive problem in every sphere. Another thing too, kind of unrelated, well, a little bit related, I suppose, but one of my favorite rappers, his name's NF. He has this song, it's like so good, it's called Paralyzed. And this was like one of the first songs I had listened to. I got out of a really bad relationship a few years ago and basically had just stuffed my emotions for years. And I remember listening to this song and it was just like, man, like, I was grieving this, and just like listening to the lyrics and like letting myself feel like actual grief was in a way so healing for me. You know, like, I let myself feel sad and I let myself like leave the past behind. Like, welcome to the human experience, you know? There's gonna be pain, there's gonna be suffering, there's gonna be seasons of life that you go through, man, that are just gonna suck. And there's not gonna be a shortcut, and there's not gonna be an easy way to get out of it. You just have to go through it in a way. And you're gonna have joy and you're gonna have gladness in those seasons as well. But that is what, you know, that's life, dude. To act as if pain is not a part of the journey is, in a way, to deny the beauty of the human existence. And these are indispensable parts of the process of you learning to love yourself. Anyways, I'm done. I'm not trying to sound like a preacher here, but yeah, man, you don't have to always be positive. Like, just, it's okay to feel. It's okay to, you know, just be real. Be real every now and then, you know what I mean? So, anyways, guys, that's all I got. Until next time, let the winds come. Peace.